extraordinary hearing, Maduro faced charges of drug trafficking, narco-terrorism, and conspiracy to import cocaine. He told the judge he had been kidnapped.
January 3rd, 2026, 2 a.m. The capital city of Venezuela sleeps. But tonight, the sleep will be shattered by one of the most daring military operations in modern history.
New images of the daring U.S. military raid to capture and extract Nicolás Maduro and his wife.
Over 150 American military aircraft are converging on Caracas. Delta Force operators, the most elite soldiers on Earth, are minutes away from their target. Their mission: capture a sitting head of state from inside a military fortress in the heart of an enemy capital. This is how America captured Nicolás Maduro. Welcome to Daily Junkie, where we investigate the stories the world can't ignore. This operation didn't start on January 3rd. It began months earlier. CIA operatives and military intelligence teams had been watching Maduro's every move. They knew where he slept, what he ate, what he wore, even what pets he kept. According to General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, American intelligence had infiltrated Maduro's inner circle. At least one source inside the Venezuelan government was feeding information directly to Washington. Maduro lived inside Fort Tiuna, Venezuela's largest military installation, a fortress protected by armed guards, anti-aircraft systems, and layers of steel doors. Trump himself called it one of the most fortified compounds he'd ever seen. But intelligence wasn't enough. Delta Force needed to rehearse, so they did something extraordinary. They built an exact full-size replica of Maduro's safe house. Every door, every hallway, every steel barrier. They practiced the assault dozens of times. They timed how long it would take to cut through steel doors with blowtorches. They mapped escape routes. They drilled until they could execute in total darkness. Trump revealed that the team could breach Maduro's safe room in exactly 47 seconds. 47 seconds to cut through military-grade steel. While Delta Force trained, Trump was building pressure. Over 15,000 American troops deployed to the Caribbean. The USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier strike group took position off Venezuela's coast, the largest military buildup in the region since the Cold War. And the strikes began. Since September, American forces had destroyed over 30 boats allegedly smuggling drugs. More than 100 people killed in precision missile attacks across the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. Late December, a CIA drone strike on a Venezuelan dock. The message was clear. We're coming. By early December, the pieces were in place. Delta Force was ready. The intelligence was solid. The carrier group was positioned. All they needed was the green light from the president. Trump wanted to go 4 days earlier, then 3 days, then 2. But the weather wasn't right. Cloud cover was too thick. The element of surprise could be compromised. As Trump told Fox News, "We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, and then all of a sudden it opened up, and we said, go." At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time on January 2nd, President Trump gave the order from his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. "Good luck and Godspeed," he told General Kane. In Venezuela, it was 11:46 p.m. local time. Caracas was settling into sleep. Maduro was in his compound at Fort Tiuna. He had no idea that over 150 American aircraft were already airborne, converging on his position from 20 bases across the Western Hemisphere. Shortly after midnight, the lights went out. Trump later revealed that American forces had cut power to most of Caracas. He didn't say how, just that the US has certain expertise in these matters. Likely cyber warfare, likely electromagnetic weapons, the kind of capabilities only America possesses. Trump's words: it was dark and it was deadly. At 2 a.m. exactly, The sky erupted. Ana Vanessa Herrero, a journalist in Caracas, described what she heard. "I heard a huge sound, a loud bang. It moved all the windows. Immediately after, I saw a huge cloud of smoke that almost blocked the entire view." At least 7 massive explosions rocked the city. American fighter jets and bombers struck air defense systems, military bases, communications infrastructure. Generalissimo Francisco de Miranda Air Base hit. La Carlota military airfield hit. Port La Guaira hit. Higuerote Airport hit. Fort Tiuna itself hit. Venezuela's air defenses never had a chance. American stealth technology, electronic warfare, overwhelming firepower. The strikes lasted just 30 minutes, but destroyed Venezuela's ability to respond. 1 minute after the airstrikes began, MH-60 Black Hawk helicopters piloted by the 161st Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers, descended on Fort Tiuna. Inside, Delta Force operators, the same unit that killed Osama bin Laden's deputy, the same unit that captured Saddam Hussein, the same unit that eliminated ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. America's absolute best. Also on board, FBI hostage rescue team members. Because this wasn't just a military operation, it was an arrest. Maduro had been indicted in 2020 by the Southern District of New York on narco-terrorism charges. This was a warrant being served at gunpoint. As the helicopters descended, Venezuelan forces opened fire, automatic weapons, anti-aircraft guns. They knew the Americans were coming. They'd been warned by the strikes, but they couldn't stop them. One Black Hawk took hits, bullet holes, shrapnel damage. But the Night Stalkers are the best helicopter pilots in the world. The damaged bird stayed airborne. The mission continued. General Kane's words: "The apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline." Maduro's compound was designed to be impenetrable. Steel doors, reinforced walls, a panic room with walls of solid steel. But Delta Force had trained for exactly this scenario. They carried blowtorches specifically for cutting through steel. They'd practiced on the replica. They knew it would take 47 seconds to breach the panic room if needed. Trump later described what happened. They just broke in, and they broke into places that were not really able to be broken into. Steel doors that were put there for just this reason. When Delta Force breached Maduro's safe house, he was there with his wife, Celia Flores. He tried to run, tried to reach the panic room, but he was too slow. Trump's account: he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. He got bum-rushed so fast that he didn't get into that room. Within minutes, both Maduro and Flores were in American custody, flex-cuffed, blindfolded. The FBI read them their rights. They were formally under arrest. A few American operators took bullet wounds and shrapnel, but everyone walked away. No Americans killed, no helicopters lost. Perfect execution. The Venezuelan side wasn't so lucky. Reports suggest at least 40 Venezuelans killed in the strikes and firefight, though exact numbers remain classified. The Night Stalker helicopters crossed out of Venezuelan airspace with their precious cargo. First stop, USS Iwo Jima, an amphibious assault ship waiting in international waters. Trump posted a photo to Truth Social. Maduro in a gray tracksuit, blindfolded, surrounded by armed guards. From there, Guantanamo Bay. Then helicopters to New York. By Saturday evening, Maduro was in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, the same jail that held Jeffrey Epstein, the same jail that held El Chapo. A head of state, captured in his own capital, transported halfway across the world, and locked in an American prison in less than 24 hours. Hours later, Trump held a press conference at Mar-a-Lago. He was triumphant.
The United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela.
This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history, he declared. He compared it to the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, to the strike that eliminated Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. He called it a spectacle like people have not seen since World War II. And then he said something that shocked even his allies. The United States is going to run Venezuela until a transition of power can take place. Not support a transition, not assist with elections, run the country. In Caracas, chaos. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez appeared on state television, visibly shaken. She called Maduro's capture barbaric, an illegal and illegitimate kidnapping. She demanded his immediate release.
I come with sorrow for the kidnapping of two heroes who are being held hostage in the United States of America, President Nicolás Maduro and the First Lady of this country, Celia Flores.
But hours later, Venezuela's Supreme Court, still controlled by Maduro loyalists, ordered Rodriguez to assume the presidency, not as elected president, as acting president in Maduro's forced absence. Trump claimed he'd spoken with Rodriguez, that she was willing to cooperate, but in her televised address, she made no mention of any such conversation. She called Maduro the only president of Venezuela and vowed resistance. For Venezuela's opposition, this should have been their moment. Maria Corina Machado, winner of the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize, the true winner of the stolen 2024 election, declared, "Venezuelans, the hour of freedom has arrived." But Trump crushed their hopes. At the press conference, he said Machado lacks the support within or the respect within the country. He called her a very nice woman, but suggested she couldn't lead Venezuela. The opposition wants Edmundo González Urrutia, the man who actually won the 2024 election with 67% of the vote, to be installed as president. But Trump's making deals with Maduro's own vice president instead. Around the world, shock and outrage. Brazil's President Lula da Silva called the operation an extremely dangerous precedent for the international community. Colombia condemned it. Mexico condemned it. China demanded Maduro's immediate release. Legal experts called it a clear violation of international law, the UN Charter, the principle of national sovereignty. One analyst called it armed aggression against a sovereign state. But Trump doesn't care about international law. He cares about American interests. And in his view, Maduro was a drug trafficker, a narco-terrorist, and a threat to U.S. security. This isn't the first time America has snatched a foreign leader. 1989, U.S. forces invaded Panama and captured Manuel Noriega on drug charges. 2003, American troops found Saddam Hussein hiding in a hole in Iraq. But this is different. Noriega's regime had already collapsed. Saddam's government had been overthrown by a full-scale invasion. Maduro was captured while still in power, with his government still functioning in a lightning raid that lasted less than 3 hours. As one military analyst put it, this is unprecedented in modern warfare. The surgical removal of a head of state from inside his own capital without a declaration of war, without regime change, without occupation. It's a demonstration of American military capabilities that no other country on earth could replicate, and it's a warning to every authoritarian leader. If you're indicted in America, nowhere is safe. Maduro now sits in a Brooklyn jail cell, awaiting trial. The charges: narco-terrorism conspiracy, conspiracy to import cocaine, possession of weapons. If convicted, he faces life in federal prison. His lawyers will argue illegal kidnapping, violation of sovereignty, inadmissible evidence. But the American justice system doesn't care how you got to court, just that you're there. Manuel Noriega tried the same arguments. He still died in prison. In Venezuela, the future is murky. Trump says America will run the country, but what does that mean? Military occupation? A puppet government? Direct administration by U.S. officials? The State Department isn't saying. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth compared it to flipping the script on Iraq, getting economic benefits this time instead of spending trillions. Is he talking about oil? Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves. The Democratic opposition, the people who actually won the election, are being sidelined. Trump's cutting deals with Maduro's cronies, the very people who helped steal the election. This operation signals something bigger. Trump's 2025 national security strategy outlined what some call the Trump corollary. America will use military force to secure its interests in the Western Hemisphere. Period. Venezuela was just the test case, the demonstration, a message to China, to Russia, to Iran. This hemisphere is ours. It's a return to Cold War-era intervention, but with 21st century technology. Precision strikes, cyber warfare, special operations that can decapitate a government in hours instead of months. Some celebrate it as decisive leadership. Others warn it's the death of the international rules-based order, the shift from law to raw military power. Operation Absolute Resolve succeeded brilliantly as a military operation. Perfect planning, flawless execution, 0 American casualties. The most elite soldiers on Earth proved why they're the best, but the political consequences are just beginning. Venezuela's fate hangs in the balance. The opposition feels betrayed, the regime loyalists are in disarray, and America has just declared itself the arbiter of power in Latin America. Maduro stole an election. He ran a narco state. He deserved to face justice. But did it have to happen this way? And what comes next? Those are the questions that will define the next chapter of this story. And we'll be here to investigate every development. This is Daily Junkie, where we investigate the stories the world can't ignore. Subscribe for Part 2, the full biography of Nicolás Maduro, from bus driver to dictator, coming soon.